Hi, and welcome to the fourth day of the Learn How to Study Abroad series. It's going to be a short one today. We are going to go through and talk about the common types of study abroad programs and how you can figure out which type is best for you. Let's head into day 4. So for day 4 of our series, we are talking more about the common types of study abroad programs and some of the things to consider as you begin deciding to choose which one might work best for you. So the common types of study abroad programs worldwide. Now, I want to just give a little disclaimer here that this is not all encompassing of every single type. This again is just looking at the 3 most common types of programs that you will find no matter where you're looking around the world. So the first one is going to be our faculty-led or institutionalized, as I like to call them, programs. Now, these are the most common because they are related directly to whatever institution you are enrolled in. So whether that be at the high school or secondary level, whether it be at the college or university level, or even at the graduate level. These are going to be programs that are produced and run by your current school and that are tied in a lot of ways to what you may be studying directly in your major. So you may be able to apply whatever credits you're getting abroad directly to your studies. You are usually going to be studying directly with people who are within your same grade level or at the same level as you if you're at college and university. And so a lot of students opt for these because they tend to be a little bit easier to navigate. There's a simpler application process because you're already in the school. You're just applying for the study abroad opportunity within your school. And one of the benefits as well is that you can often apply whatever financial aid you have at your school to your study abroad program. So that is faculty-led or institutionalized. Now we have independent, organized programs. This is the second level, and this is also something that you will probably hear a lot about or see these types of programs when you're going through and Googling or researching, because this takes up a lot of the global market. So if you've seen companies online, maybe you've seen some of their ads, the American Institute for Foreign Study is one, AIFS. I did my first 2 study abroad programs with them, so I can personally vouch for them that it was a great experience for me. There is CIEE, there is IES, there are so many. A lot of these are American-based, but I know that in other countries they have similar types of programs. With these, they're independent, but they're still organized. So they may be run by either nonprofit organizations or for-profit. And with that, you just want to keep in mind the differences. So with the nonprofit, these are going to be organizations where most of the money that they make from the students goes right back into the organization. So similar to any other type of nonprofit where they have to actually pay people who work there and they have to be able to fund the opportunities that they're doing. So maybe they do excursions or they may be able to help students with the housing, however that works. But your tuition goes right back into the program and to make those enriching experiences. So they run pretty lean on things. Then you have your for-profit programs. Now with these, there are a lot of them out there in different countries. I'm not saying to stay away from them because a lot of them are legit, but you have to keep in mind that with for-profiting that it is a for-profit business, so it's run strictly like a business. So in a lot of ways, the student may not come first. So you may find that there's not a lot of opportunity to do excursions that are included, or that the program may not help you necessarily with your housing or with your visa, and that they're going to be nickel and diming you for a lot of things. So maybe every single thing that they offer you cost, and it's not all inclusive in the way that it would be for a nonprofit version of an independent program. So I just like students to look out for that and to be very aware of kind of what that means, that if it's for profit, they definitely are running it strictly like a business. And so it may be more expensive for you in the long run. One of the great things about independent organized programs, though, is that they are not tied to any school or university per se. They may have relationship with these schools to put on the academic piece of what they're doing, but it tends to be much more of a working relationship. So you may not be getting a full degree from a particular program that you're doing for an independent program, but you may be able to get certain credits within that program that you're doing. But it's great about them because they tend to be a little bit more vast in where they offer things. So compared to the faculty-led, where you're going to see that whatever your school does, they may have a setup where they have a program in, let's say, 5 different countries. If you do an independent program, so if you go to the AIFS, for example, if you go to their website, and I'm not just promoting them, like I had a great experience with them, but I would never just promote them. They're not paying me to say this. But if you go to their website, you will see that they have programs all around the world. It may not be as vast if you're doing faculty-led because, again, schools, institutions around the world, they tend to build partnerships with schools that work best for them and other organizations that work best for them, and that may not be all around the world in different countries, unless they're like a huge school, or I know, for example, here in the U.S., a lot of Ivy League and more prestigious schools have that, and a lot of smaller colleges and universities don't have that. So with the independent organized programs, you will find that they have a lot more variety compared to your faculty-led programs. Last but not least, we have self-appointed programs, as I like to call them, or just plain degree programs. So these are going to be much more long-haul programs. So your 3-year programs, full degree programs, if you're in the UK or in Germany or, going to Canada, someplace like that. Or if you're coming here to the U.S., it's going to be your 4-year, 5-year programs if you're undergrad, or 2 to 3 years if you're in graduate school. So you want to think about these as more long-term, but they still are a type of study abroad, obviously, and they tend to be a lot more person-based in the sense of you have to do all the legwork yourself usually and figuring out specifically what do you have to do, what are the tests you have to take, how do you formulate everything. You'll find that in a lot of these programs to a certain extent, but with the faculty-led and the independent, you do a lot of that up front, and then as you get into the program, a lot of it is either done with you in terms of the program helping you out, or they take over at a certain point. Whereas with the self-appointed, you'll find that you have to be a lot more investigative and willing to sort of put forth the effort yourself. So how do you determine which is the best for you? So it's a little bit similar to what we talked about in the previous day where we were kind of thinking about where you want to go. So you'll definitely want to think about the timing. Again, it comes back to that. What is the timing of when you want to do this? Because for some of the programs, they're only offered in the fall or in the spring. Maybe some of them are offered in the summer as well. Whereas if you're doing a degree program, that could be strictly related to what you want to do next in your career. So maybe you have to get this degree knocked out in the next 2 years so that you can move on to the next step of your career. So you want to think about it in terms of timing. We've also already talked about the money piece and how that is very imperative to consider whenever you're going to be embarking on study abroad, whether it be through faculty-led or independent organized or through degree programs. Your educational goals are also going to play a role in this as well. Thinking about how you want to go about meeting new people and building your network. Depending on what type of program you do, it could be completely different. So if you're doing a faculty-led program, an institutionalized program, you have to keep in mind that you're going to be with students who you may, number one, already know, or number two, are from your school. So for some students, that's very attractive because they're interested in maybe building new relationships and new friendships with people that they may see on campus, but never have a chance to interact with. Or for some students, they're like, actually, I want to get away from the school that I'm at right now and meet new people. So you want to consider that potentially maybe an independent program might be better for you. Of course, if you're embarking on a degree program, unless you're going to be going with students if you're coming from the high school, secondary school level to undergrad, then maybe you're going with students that you already know. Or if you're going to a graduate program, you tend to have a lot more opportunities to meet new people anyway because you're, again, branching off on your own pathway. So you'll just want to think about how important that is to you and how you can go about that in choosing your program. Restrictions from your current school. I always just like to point out, and this is something that you will hear over and over again, is that if you are in school right now, particularly at the undergraduate level, and you're interested in studying abroad, you're going to want to have a conversation with your financial aid office, with your academic advisor, to make sure that whatever type of program you choose, that it is going to work out with what is available at your school. There are a limited number of schools that require students to only study abroad with their programs that they offer. So you'll definitely want to think about that and figure out if that's going to work out for you or if you're going to want to try and do something else. Kind of the flip side of that is they can't necessarily restrict you from doing it, but what they'll say is, if you don't study abroad in our program, then we're not going to give you credit. So is that important to you? Is getting the particular course credit that you're doing abroad important to you? For some students, they're like, I actually don't care. Even if I don't get the actual credits on my transcript, I still want to do this. That's a bold move. I really respect that, but you'll just need to think through that if your school falls under the category of saying you can only do our particular programs. Or even if they don't, even if they say whatever it is, kind of like how my undergraduate school was, go for it. You'll just want to make sure that you have the conversation to make sure that you understand that whatever credits you're getting, will they translate over? How many will you be able to put on your transcript? Just so you're very clear about that and there are no surprises at the end. Last but not least, if you want to study and live and work abroad in the future, so maybe you're an undergrad student right now, but you're like, for graduate school, I want to go back abroad and I want to live or I want to work. That may be another way that you choose whatever program you want to do, because maybe there's a program that is targeted in the country, location where you want to eventually live. This will give you an opportunity to be able to explore it and really see it firsthand. So just some things to think about in terms of the different types of programs and how you might go about deciding which one is best for you. So I hope that going through the different types of common study abroad programs was useful for you. I know that's something that a lot of people still don't really know that much about. They just know that they type in study abroad and then they see a program and that sounds good, but they may not know which type of program they're actually doing. So I hope that this particular module brought some clarity to you. So I do have a freebie. I have my Finding Your Perfect Study Abroad e-guide for you that is located in the description box. And with this e-guide, I really try to break down not just the differences between the programs like we started talking about in the module, but also thinking about some of the pros and cons, because you want to do a bit of comparing and contrasting when you're trying to make a commitment like study abroad, which is expensive and time consuming and definitely going to help shape the future of your life. So I wanted to give you that. And so you're going to go ahead and put your details in to that link. And then what you're going to do is you will have access to the e-guide directly in your inbox. You can get started with it, reading through it. It is a little bit thick. So as you go through, definitely spend some time taking some notes. It's a printable as well. And then there's also a fun quiz at the end too, which just kind of helps you to sync up and make sure that you're on the right track of thinking about what program is going to work best for you. I hope that you enjoy the e-guide, and I will see you tomorrow for day 5.